Also, you'll see if you get an alert from YouTube on the channel. All right, it says we are live, Obi. We are finally live. Can you believe that?
Hold on, is this true?
I think it's true, man. And listen, this is going to be a story. This is definitely going to be one for the books. Because I
Oh
think
my
we're
God,
live.
we are live, huh?
We are live, right? See,
All right, everybody, welcome. It is
sometimes the
only
old shutdown restart does wonders, doesn't it?
7:51. So, hey, listen, Ray. You're Puerto Rican, I'm Colombian, so we're running on Spanish time.
You know what? We're just keeping it real. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
it.
We're just keeping it consistent and keeping it real here.
That's it. Hey,
We'll
listen.
give it. What's
if,
that?
No, I was gonna say, if people can see us, can they just can they give us a quick chat? Can we know if people are on or what?
Yep. And it looks like right now, it looks like there's no one on here, but YouTube, there's usually a lag. So they'll get an alert and they'll realize that we are now on a different, we had to create a different stream. So.
Yeah. Oh, so the old link doesn't work.
The old link does not work. Yeah. So it was weird because the old link was saying that we were live.
Mm-hmm.
But if I notice now that I'm looking back at it, it was saying preview. Now it's actually saying live. So I think it was just, I don't know.
You
it's
know
one
what?
of those things you'll never know.
Let me see if I can share this link with the people.
You know what I always say, that this is Google's world and we just have to live it.
Yeah, you may be right there, my friend.
I mean, think about it. Think about life without Google. But, we'll hold off a few minutes and give people some time. Oh, it looks like we got one viewer finally. Hey, whoever it is out there, our sincere apologies. Technology never works when you need it to, but we were able to shut down and restart. And thankfully, we are live. And as Obi just mentioned, what did you say, Obi?
I'm putting up a new link on my IG.
No, we're keeping it real.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that too. Sorry. I was just sending this to the people,
Yep, I get it.
So
we'll give it a minute.
Right. So now that it's working, right?
Yep.
I just sent out the new link.
Yep. Maybe we'd you know what I'll do, Obi? We're gonna do something special.
All right.
Live. You know what we're gonna do while people join in? We're gonna throw a little bit of
what's that?
Music. Just a little low music in the background while people join in. And we're not going to spend too much time just BSing around because time is valuable to people.
We got
the music a little too loud on your end.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna bring it down a little bit here.
Yeah.
How about now?
Okay, Rick.
What was that?
A little bit, yeah.
Let me lower it a little more. That's better.
Still a little loud.
Wow, really? This thing is so sensitive, dude. It's like, how's that? Is that better? We're still too loud.
Better? No, that's good. That's good.
That is good. All right,
that's perfect.
It's crazy. Like I don't even see the little bar. You know what I mean on the jog stick here. But all right, looks like we got one viewer. So you know what? I know there were 6 on the last stream, and a lot of people probably bounced again because they waited a little bit too long. But dude, I am so excited for this freaking episode. And again, apologies to all of you guys out there. We had a little technical difficulties, as you heard, kind of when we were just waiting for some of you guys to join here. And I thought it was a serious issue, but the old shutdown restart trick definitely did the trick here. And you know what it is, Obi? And by the way, Obi, dude, yes, I am so freaking happy to have you on tonight. You don't understand. Dude, like so excited. I got so much that I want to talk to you about. By the way, you were like one of the first people that I've met out on the water, right? With the wave runners and things like that, dude. And you're just, ever since day one, you're just such a humble dude. You're just so freaking cool.
I would just tell you that, as I guess as cliche as it sounds, listen, man, I just treat people the way I want to be treated, and I just don't think you can go wrong if that's your outlook. Is treat everybody like you want to be treated, man.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, that's the same thing with me, right? That's kind of the way I look at things. I also, I always keep in mind like what goes around comes around. You know what I mean? I feel like if you treat people well, I think it does two things. I think it helps you like identify like the character in others, depending on how they respond to that. Or I got to tell you, man, I've met a lot of really good people just by being me. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah,
it's 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 pretty crazy, but dude, so
absolutely.
excited to have you here. Say hello to your family, by the way. I
Of
wasn't
course.
sure if they were gonna jump on the stream at one point or not, but dude, we got so much to talk about. And by the way, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I think this is episode 3 now. Again, thank you again for all of your love and support. We are really, really excited to have, to be joined by Obi Ski today. We got so much, guys, to talk about. And also, please, if you have any questions for Obi, if you have any questions for myself, please feel free to drop those down in the comments or in the chat here. And what we'll do is towards the end of this, we will stop and we will look at the questions and we will answer those questions for all of you. But should I call you Obi or should I call you by your first name?
Listen, man, my name is Eddie, but everybody knows me as Obi, so let's just keep it simple, right?
Let's keep it simple then. Obi, it is. So, Obi,
Yeah.
why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Listen, I'm originally from New Jersey, so born in Patterson, New Jersey, and I was living in Pompton Lakes. And in 2018, late 2018, the
Okay.
family and I decided, you know what, we have been wanting to move to Florida for way too long, and we will never find the right time. So if we don't make it happen, it will never happen. So at that point, we just decided, let's just do it. And in 3 months, house sold, things packed. And on January 1st, 2019, I threw everything in the U-Haul. I drove down here by myself. And January 2nd, I got here. I stayed by my cousin's house for a couple of months while I found a house. And then we found a house. And my family, my wife and daughter, in May. So I was here for about 5 months without them. In May, came down, and we've been here ever since, man. And I will tell you that I don't say this to try and, make a point or try and be facetious or anything like that. I will tell you that if someone came up to me and said, "Hey, I got a house for you," and it's nothing against Jersey, but I got a house for you in Jersey, free and clear, no mortgage, you just got to move back there, I would say thanks, but no thanks. Not happening.
No, that's funny. And listen, if you see me like going down underneath the desk real quick, the problem was I forgot to plug in the laptop when I shut everything down and restarted it. So apologies. But, that's an interesting story, Obi, because I kind of share the same as you. And I think we talked about it a couple of days ago when we got together. But, we moved, I would say, about 3.5 years after you did, right?
Mhm.
My only regret is not doing it sooner for
Same
many,
here.
many, for many, many reasons, particularly the home values out here has just and continue to just skyrocket, but
Oh yeah.
we're kind of on the same boat. Like there is no way I will ever move back up north. I mean, I just don't want to deal with snow. I don't want to deal with any of the cold. With that said, I don't know how you feel about this, but one day I'd love to have a house in the mountains somewhere, where I can go and kind of chill out for the weekend and enjoy the different season. But that's about it.
You know what's funny that you say that? So where where Patterson is located, it's about maybe 20 minutes from New York City, Manhattan, right? So I grew up in metropolitan New York City, right? Which is, Giant Stadium, MetLife, just it's a very, very busy place. And although later on I moved to a smaller town, Pompton Lakes, it's still what you would consider city life. And right, man, ever since I moved to Florida, it took a little bit, but I think one of the big reasons I wouldn't move back is, man, I like to slow down what people would call country life. Um, as cool and as much as I love the beach and heading out to Clearwater and Siesta and all that, man, I love exploring the backcountry just as much. I love heading on these rivers where you're in the middle of nowhere. You've got gators, you've got snake. Who knows what's underneath the water that you're riding? And we jump out and we just love it out here. It's a different kind of life, but it's amazing. And I never thought that I wouldn't like it. I just didn't know what it was like. But now I would tell you that that's one of the other main reasons I wouldn't go. Listen, like everyone, I love sandbars and all the beaches, and that's
Right.
beautiful. It's unspeakable. But the back countries are just as beautiful. I love it. Absolutely love it. And for those that actually have have subscribed to my channel, you guys have actually seen that we've actually thrown a couple of the off-roading Jeep videos up there because that's
Dude,
something
I
that I
love
thought we
those.
could do a little bit more. Just exploring all these forests and state parks and all these places that are just in the middle of nowhere. It's beyond amazing.
Dude, I totally agree with you. You know what I mean? Like one of the things I was shooting, like kind of ideas with Brooke. Usually when I want something, like I kind of it's a cycle. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
probably like that in every marriage, right? So I kind of introduced the idea slowly by watching certain YouTube videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of start planting the seed. But I think we talked about the whole Jeep thing, right? I'm like, man, I'd love a Jeep, but dude, one of those like Polaris Razors or one of those Can-Ams, like ATVs, to go and explore some of the freaking backwoods out here. Like I live near Mayaca City, right? Like Mayaca, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine having an ATV and just exploring those backwoods. You know what I mean? It's just sick.
Yeah, it's amazing, man, and all the different wildlife and not listen. Obviously, everybody that's not from here thinks, "Oh my goodness, yeah, gators, they're gonna bite you and eat you." They don't. They don't. It's not like that. Um, they're kind of just there. They don't bother you. They don't do anything. As long as you don't bother them, you'll be fine. But
Dude,
all these different birds and all it's amazing out there, man. It's absolutely amazing.
I know, and like you mentioned earlier, I mean, you enjoy it just as much as being out in beautiful blue water. It's just, you know what it is? It's a different, totally different experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, it's awesome. And speaking of the Gators, it's funny because when we were first like kind of looking at moving to Florida, I mean, it's something we wanted to do for a very, very long time, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we were like, oh my God, what do you got to do? You got to kind of look out the window before you like walk out the door. And then before you go in your car, you start watching like some channels about people that move to Florida and you start buying into their BS. We're like, oh, you got to look underneath the cars and everything else.
Yeah.
Dude, you totally forget that those things are even around.
Yeah, man, they don't bother you. You don't bother them, they don't bother you.
That's exactly how I feel. So, kind of shifting gears here a little bit, Obi. Like, obviously, we know about the Jeep thing, which, by the way, you touched on it. And please, you got to keep those videos coming because those
Oh,
are badass, right?
will do.
Everybody knows, obviously, the ski. Otherwise, there would not be an Obi Ski TV,
Correct.
right? But are there
Yeah.
any other hobbies that you're passionate about?
Yes, and it probably will never make the YouTube channel, just because it's not. I just don't see that, making it there. But I absolutely love playing golf.
So
I'm a
maybe
golfer.
there's a second YouTube channel in the works in the future.
No, it's so much work. It's just so much work to do that. And I'm nowhere near good enough. There's nobody I think that would ever tune in for my pointers. Probably make them a worse golfer. But I do have a tournament with three of my best friends coming up here. We're going to be playing down by Naples in a couple weeks, and we do a tournament every year. It's going to be our 10th annual one, and it's a ton of fun. And so the only thing I guess I'll say is, if you don't golf, I promise you, just try it. Just go out there with your buddies, play around, and if the bug bites you, you're welcome.
I think I told you before, I want to do it. So speaking of the channel and is it interesting and you're like still learning, someone that wants to learn golf, I would totally watch somebody and the process that they're putting into the learning phase of golfing. It's something that I definitely
Yeah.
want to do. My
Listen,
problem is I don't have a lot of patience.
you do need that, and there's some really good channels out there where you can do that. I watch a lot of them, but it's a lot of work to put into that type of channel. Now, it's a lot of work the channels that we do as well. So it's not so much that I can't do it. It's just that that's going to be two big channels, and I can't handle that. Listen, I have one of my best friends is planning on actually starting his YouTube channel around golf and all that. So hopefully that kicks off well. And if it is doing well, maybe in the future we'll pop up on one of those episodes or something. But golf is awesome. Golf is awesome.
No, again, it's kind of on the bucket list, right? I've always wanted to learn how to do it. There was a point in time where I even had my own golf clubs. I used to go to the range and stuff like that, and it's like, no pun intended, but for me it was kind of hit or miss.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? But no, such an awesome sport. I do enjoy watching it. Guess the PGA Tour is going to be in my neighborhood here. I want to say in the next couple of weeks here in Lakewood Ranch. So I've actually been thinking about potentially heading out there and checking that out as well.
Hey, cool, quick story. So at at one of the tournaments back, I think it was 2014. I could be wrong, but it was part of the PGA Tour playoff, and they were playing over in Jersey City at Liberty National Golf Course, and Tiger Woods was playing. So my wife, girlfriend at the time, but my current wife, I told her, hey, let's go check out Tiger. So we go to the tournament, and right around I think it was the 8th or 9th hole, Tiger comes up, he puts it like within 2 inches of the cup from like 180 yards, taps it in. We're seeing Phil, we're seeing everybody. And then I'm like, hey, let's head to 18 because it's going to start getting packed within the next hour or two because Tiger's going to make the back nine. So we get there. We're right there. Tiger hits his shot. So I'm like right here. Tiger's maybe 10 feet in front of me, and he's looking down towards the putt. And I say to myself, oh, he's aiming way too far left. Right. His aim was spot on. He misses it by a millimeter. And on TV, and more importantly, a reporter took a picture of Tiger going like that, like he missed the shot, and me and my wife are right behind him. So we're in the frame of Tiger Woods, the greatest of all time.
That is awesome.
It was cool.
Speaking of Tiger Woods, right? We got a schedule. We got to go to dinner one day at Pop Stroke. So Tiger Woods has a restaurant here. It's about 10, 15 minutes, not even 15, about 10 minutes from their house, but it's Pop Stroke. It's kind of like a mini golf, but like mini golf on steroids, right? I mean, legit. It looks like, dude, we got to go there. And the food's actually half decent as well. Outdoor bar, like really, really nice setup and atmosphere. So put that on the calendar because we're making that happen here soon.
Amen.
Look who joined. It looks like we got Z out there watching. Obi, so say hello to Z. Z,
sorry,
what's up?
Guys, the delay. Let me see. Do I have to go to the chat? I don't see any chat.
So what we'll do, Obi, is we'll just go through the chat here shortly. At the end.
You'll have to tell me.
Yeah, of course. So what I'll do is, we'll just run down the chat, answer questions, engage with the audience here in a few minutes here. But I got a question for you, right? Like you were from Jersey, you moved down to Florida. What inspired you to start exploring Florida waters? Like, especially considering you're not like originally from here. And I had Yamahas up north, but we lived in a lake house, near a lake in Western Massachusetts for a few years. But other than that, I mean, it's not as common as down here. So like, what drove you or what motivated you? What was your inspiration?
Yeah, Ray. So in Jersey, I never owned a jet ski or wave runner or whatever, PWC. But my cousin and I, he's 21 days younger than I am. So we're the same age, right? So we grew up together. He was my best man at my wedding. He's the guy that I ride all the time with. The latest video, the Little Manatee River. Boom. He's the guy I rode with. So his name is Alex, by the way. So we grew up going to the Jersey Shore like every other weekend. I mean, Seaside Heights, Belmar, Point Pleasant, Sandy Hook. I could be here forever. Wildwood.
Man, you went to all the nice beaches. My parents had me in Wildwood.
Well, Wildwood too. Like Wildwood was awesome. I loved Wildwood. Anyway,
I love Wildwood.
We grew up going down the shore all the time. So we were always on the water. We were on the swim team together. Anywhere we went on vacations, we, rented jet skis. So we always did that. Now, he moved here in 2005. So I think it was in 2008, he bought a couple of jet skis. 2008 Yamaha VXs, I believe. So every time we came down here, we just rode. But we always rode in like Tampa Bay, like, by beer cans, stuff like that. We never kind of went anywhere else besides that. Even like Bradenton, not too far. So when I finally moved down in 2019, we actually went to the Fort DeSoto Florida Ski Riders excursion.
Okay.
Where it was a bunch of skis. I had never been on an excursion before. I jumped on his blue 2008 Yamaha VX. He has a black one. And his younger brother, my other cousin, obviously, who is like 6'4", 240. He's friggin' huge, right? He decides to jump on the back of my ski. And if anybody knows, the water's out by the Skyway Bridge and by Egmont, when it's windy,
they're
oh
bad.
boy.
Yeah.
So I'm riding with him behind me. I thought we were going to flip at least 12, 15 times, but that excursion was unbelievable. It was my first one, and I said to myself, oh, I'm getting it. And then shortly after that, actually not shortly, later that year, we went to the Florida Ski Riders Kissimmee River excursion. And that one right there, I think, was that Kissimmee River hooked me. The gators, the wines, everything about that ride. That was actually the ride for those of you that were there, or for those of you guys that have seen some of the videos. That is the one where I'm riding by the middle because I was told stay in the middle. Don't get too close to the sides. And I'm in the middle, and Mr. Danny Duncan decides I'm going to cut people. So he's coming up the left-hand side. And as he's pulling up the left-hand side, he hits a sandbank, and boom, my man flips over the handlebars. And here I'm thinking, oh boy, there's gators in the water. Again, I've been here for less than a year. He got up so quick and got on that ski. It was, I think June got a bunch of videos from that. So I think he's posted a bunch of them too. So that was unbelievable. Shortly after that one is when I decided, you know what? I got to get my own PWC. I got to get a jet ski. This is way too much fun. And more importantly, like you mentioned, Ray, on those rides, I got to meet some really, really cool people. Like It was, as much as riding was fun, hanging out, grabbing something to eat during the rides, or just hanging out at the sandbars or the sand, whatever it was. I'm like, man, this is it. Like, I got to get my own. I got to be out here because it's so relaxing. It's so calming that what did it for me was the adventure and the people I met.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. It's funny you mentioned the Skyway Bridge and that area. That's kind of my local riding area. And dude, when it's windy, that's a washing machine. I mean,
oh yeah,
that's the only way to describe it. And you can't. It's crazy because sometimes it's a washing machine on the bay, right, or the inside of Egmont. Then you go to the Gulf side and it's like perfectly flat. It's just
weird.
But you're right. And then if you get one of those big cargo ships coming through, dude, forget it. It's done. So actually, speaking of rides, I think it was 2 years ago, I had Andy from Sandshark. He was riding his ski. I was riding my ski. And we were going across from Egmont Key to like that Fort DeSoto area. I forget what's the name of the sandbar that's there that everybody likes. Yes.
Bunches House.
So we were headed in that direction, dude. Andy, like, he just, I don't know if he just wasn't reading the wave well. It's hard to do. It's hard to do that though. You know what I mean? You got to be on your toes. And dude, he fell off his ski, and then the current and the freaking just that washing machine thing, just he struggled getting on there. Those waters can get really, really rough.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Like, what are like some of your most surprising or unexpected like things that you encounter while exploring?
I will tell you that I've gotten stuck a lot. Which is fun. Like I've grown accustomed. My wife hates it, but I've grown accustomed to can I get stuck here? Because if I can get stuck, then let's do it, right? So Kissimmee River, I've gotten stuck where I've ridden there a lot, but one of the earlier times, I think it was the first time I was leading my family. It was my cousin, a couple cousins of mine, a couple uncles. Right. So we all decided to go. And I'm like, I think I've ridden here maybe 3 or 4 times by now. So I think I got this. I was feeling myself. And we're riding, we're doing all right. We're getting close. So we docked from 60 by what's the name of that? I know they changed the name of the place where everybody goes to eat. River Ranch. So we docked by River Ranch and we're heading down, and we're almost to the Istapoga Canal. And I'm going, and Kissimmee can sometimes be a little weird. And I look, and it looks like I'm supposed to go right. So I'm heading right, and then I look to my left, and I see it's actually left. So instead of throttle pulling out, I hit throttle, but then I let go, and I hit reverse. And wham! I mean, wham! Right into the bushes, just full ski everything. And at first I'm like, oh God, what am I going to do? I can't get in this water. They threw me ropes, stuff like that. I finally was able to get out. So there was another time we were in Kissimmee, same thing. I led a bunch of family and friends. This is, a little bit later. We're heading back upriver. We passed the locks, and I decided, hey, there's this small little, channel here. I've never ridden it before, but let's just take it. Let's just follow me. All right, great. Everyone's following me. So we're going. And I'm, you know how Kissimmee is. I'm going through all the bends, and I'm looking. All of a sudden, the water just ends. It just ends. And there's like marsh and grass. So, and it's about yay wide. So I can't go anywhere. I can't throttle out or anything. So I just let go, and I go right into that like marsh. But 3 or 4 skis follow me in there. So now we're stuck. Our skis don't turn on. Nothing we can do. It's super sketchy water. So my other cousin that didn't get stuck, he ends up, towing us back out onto the main river. But once we got onto the main river, guess what? All that gunk was stuck underneath the intake. So what do you got to do? It's Kissimmee. I get it. But we had to jump into the river, get all that stuff out. And the most important thing is, we had a couple of guys ride around just in case, a couple of swamp puppies want to. But again, that's the thing that you learn about here is that they want nothing to do with you. The sound of skis, they get away from you. So once you learn that, then I think your reason to explore and just you don't freak out. Like the Little Manatee River, I got stuck like 4 or 5 times. I didn't put all the times on the video, but I got stuck like 4 or 5 times because the water was really low. But it's like any other thing, man. I'm surprised at how much of a way of life it is, because the locals here that I've met while riding up and down some rivers, like they're swimming in the rivers, and I tell them, I'm like, there's gators in here, no? And they're like, yeah, they don't do anything. I'm like, okay.
No, that's awesome. And it's funny. It's speaking of that, with the locals and kind of that, I call it real Florida or old Florida, right?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, remember that Cracker Bob?
The guy. Oh my God, how could I not? Seven Sister Spring.
That guy was awesome. You know what? I'd like to run into that guy again.
So would I.
Sometime in the future.
That guy went cave diving in the springs with a beer in his hand.
Yeah, like
literally a beer in his hand underwater.
And then came out and chugged it. That was the priceless part.
Yeah. And you gave him your GoPro, right? That he actually did the video with your GoPro.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Dude, what's crazy is like I don't think I could do that sober. You did it. I didn't do it. I don't think I could do it sober and come all the way out the end. He did it, no problem. And who knows how long he was out there drinking.
I actually took a couple of my buddies and family there last year. And one of them, when I just recently did like a reel on Instagram of just, like swimming under the cave.
I saw it. It was pretty cool.
It's amazing. But he did text me. He goes, dude, I still have nightmares from that day. Because he's not the greatest swimmer, I guess. And so he dove underneath with no shirt, which I don't recommend because it's caves. It's really rough. Like it's very jaggedy and stuff, right? So because it was his first time and he was panicking a little bit, he kind of swam up and he scratched his whole back on the cave trying to swim back up. So, but
Man.
experiences, man, like, like that's what Florida's about, doing those things.
No, absolutely. And it's funny. It's like before we moved down here, I mean, I knew about the Gulf, right? I knew about the beautiful blue waters. But for some reason, I mean, I wasn't as well aware of the natural springs. And it's just,
Neither was I.
dude, it's just it almost seems the first time I went to a spring, I want to say it was Silver Glen Spring with Rob
Oh, me
and
too.
his wife Maria. Dude, I felt like I was in a freaking movie.
Yep.
Like I'm like, this is not real. Actually, speaking of which, I think I see the reflection on the window. It's on the TV right now.
Yeah. Silver Glen is unbelievable. It's so much fun. And here's something that's funny, Ray, is I think maybe my second or third time going back to Silver Glen. Again, I took some family and friends. So there was about maybe 8 or 9 of us, right? A couple of my cousins. And so on Lake George, because we took it out because it's in Silver Glen. It's obviously no wake, right? So we get out onto Lake George, we're ripping it, and my buddy from Jersey who had a ski that he was renting, something wasn't working with his ski, and I'm like, dude, give me a second. So I jump off, I dive in the water off my ski, I swim to his. I jump on there, try to help him out. No worries. I dive back in the water. I'm swimming back to my ski. I get back on my ski. My other buddy, he flips his ski. It's his daughter and his son. They fall off, and the wife falls off, and we're all kind of having a good time, Didn't think anything of it. So I go to work, and a couple of days, maybe like a week later, I'm telling like a coworker my story, and they're like, "Wait a minute, Lake George? Lake George?" I was like, "Yeah, big Lake George up by like Ocala." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the one." Why? They're like, "I don't know. Second most infested gator lake in Florida."
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa. I Google it, and I'm like, oh, damn. Second. And I don't know if they're going, because I've read some other ones where it's Lake Jessup in terms of density, Lake Okeechobee in terms of number. Either way, there's a ton of gators in Lake George.
Yep.
And I didn't even know that. And here I am diving off the ski and swimming to another one. And,
Dude, speaking Lake George, I hear, I've seen videos. It gets rough, man. Like I hear that it can get really, really nasty. In fact, I think there was even a story maybe it was about a year or two ago, but I guess there was a dad and a daughter or something, and their boat or jet ski, I don't remember exactly what it was now, like capsized, and they were out there in the dark. I mean, they were found and they were fine, but dude, that's got to be some scary stuff.
Hey, Ray, listen, for anybody watching, I promise you, these stories are not made up. If you get a jet ski or wave runner or sea-doo, whatever, but if you get out on the water, I promise you'll experience these. The very first time that we went to Silver Glen Springs was on a Florida ski rider excursion. So I hadn't gotten my ski yet. I was still riding my cousin's 08 VX. So we go there and we're having a ball. But we do notice it's starting to rain a little bit, right? So it's starting to rain, and maybe within 20 minutes or so, I'm like really cold because everybody that knows spring water, it's 72, so it's not that warm. So I'm like starting to get really cold, and we're just deciding, hey, there's a huge storm over Lake George. We got to head out. So we're starting to ride through Silver Glen, no wake, and we get to the lake. And Ray, it looks like a freaking hurricane is out there. Waves 5 feet high, wind, you can't see. And my wife, who's behind me, looks at me and says, "We can't go." And I'm like, I don't have GPS. I don't have anything. I'm like, I have to follow these people. If I don't go now, we won't be back at the ramp. My cousin is already in front of me. So I just told my wife, hang on for dear life, and let's just go. And although I wasn't a super experienced rider by then, I did know enough that you got to throttle. If I go too slow, the waves and it was so crazy that it would have flipped us. And so I'm going almost max speed on that, which is almost 50. It's like 47, 48. And I'm flying on those waves, and I'm getting hit with rain, and it's fog. And I don't know how we got out of there, but we managed to get out of there. And that was unreal. Yeah, Lake George is nuts when it gets crazy.
Yeah, you know what? That's a lot of that's a lot something that a lot of people don't think of or consider. Like the weather in Florida in the summer months can change in a dime, right? I mean, it just
Bipolar.
like you could look at the weather, you could plan a perfect, beautiful day, and then you're bound to hit a storm at some point, right? I mean, the cool
Absolutely.
thing about it is what we've learned is if you're on the Gulf, you know, you could spot it from far away and you kind of then look at the radar, you check the direction, and you could literally just totally miss it, right?
Yep.
But one of the things that's scary is like when you're on one of those like lakes or you're in a spring, etc. I mean, there's not many places to go. I mean, other than just leaving your ski and jumping out of the water, but it just it can get really, really scary out there. Like
Yeah.
I always check the radar and everything else, but you just never know, man. These storms form just out of
Mhm.
nowhere.
And that's why I think it's so important. Listen, for a lot of the people that they'll comment on our videos. I'm sure you get some of the same comments, which is, hey, that's a cool place to ride. I want to go there, all these things. And I always tell them, I'm like, hey, listen, any place that I go to, absolutely. Like, that's the reason I go, so I can show you guys what it looks like. But I will tell you, go with someone that's been there before.
Yep.
Go with someone that has some sort of experience, whether it's ocean, river, it doesn't
Yep.
matter. Water can be, especially if you don't know the depths. That's something that I had to learn because I always thought, oh, water's deep everywhere you go.
It's not.
And boy, was I wrong,
You
you
know.
know?
And what's crazy is most people don't think about it, but you're going 55 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour. You hit a sandbar, dude, and
You're flying.
you're done.
Yeah. You go from Aquaman to Superman.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Actually, I had that happen to me in my first jet ski up north in a lake. I had one of those Yamaha. What was it? It was not. It was a triple 1000, so it was a two-stroke. It was the Wave Raider because my wife had the Wave Venture. Remember, the Wave Venture was like a freaking couch.
Yeah.
And dude, the Wave Raider was almost like it kind of felt it was like a sit down, but behaved like a stand up in the sense where you can't, you got to get on the thing and go. If you stay on that thing, you're just tipping over and you're falling off of the thing. So, dude, I flew over the handlebar, dude. I don't even know how long I flew. All I know is how far I had to swim back, considering it was a lake. And my wrist, still to this date, I still have issues with my wrist after that from when I
Yeah.
landed on the water. So,
Yeah, absolutely. It can definitely happen. It can definitely happen.
let me ask you a question.
Sure.
I'm new to
And I
Florida.
wish I
I'm
wish I could see the
thinking,
chat.
what's that?
Said I wish I could see the chat. I can't see the chat on my
Oh,
screen.
we got it. We got some stuff on the chat here. We're gonna jump on it. I just got like 2 or 3 more questions for you.
Oh
Then
yeah,
we're
yeah,
gonna
no,
go
do your
ahead.
thing. I just wanted to see who was on there. Let me see if I
Oh,
can
we
see
got
it.
Z. It looks like we have on the chat at least. Let's see. It's so hard because Z, we know is Z because he has his real name. Ron
Zika.
Bevilacqua, that's a real name. But like I don't know who Forever Memories is. Let me see here. Oh, it's got to be Amber because she said Jose did the cave. Amber, you know her?
Amber. Yes, I do.
Amber
Is that the...
Gonzalez. Gonzalez.
Oh no, I was thinking of another Amber.
Got it. Yeah, so she's also on the chat, but we have several people watching right now.
Cool.
So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, but let me ask you a question. So I'm new to
Yeah.
Florida or considering moving to Florida. What advice would you give me or that person?
So number one, do it now.
Yes,
Listen.
before the property values keep
Yes.
climbing.
So here's what I will say: is Florida is no longer the escape of cheap homes. It's just not. Now, granted, depending on where you're from, if you're coming here from California or New York City, it's still going to be cheaper. Don't get me wrong. It just is. But
Yep.
it's not what it used to be. So depending on where you live, the closer to the water, it's just
Dude,
super expensive.
It's super expensive.
Super expensive. Insurance here is unreal. But I don't want to demotivate you from moving to Florida because plan it out. Okay. And if you can definitely do it, right? If the finances work, I promise you that if you like being outdoors, it doesn't have to be on the water. Okay. Some people think that all there is to do here is just on the water. Absolutely not. There's so much to do. I mean, one of the things that we're going to do for the first time this year that's been on my list for so long, and I mentioned it to you, Ray, is we're going to go camping. Like, I'm dying to go camping. I want to set up a tent like I used to as a kid with campfires, and there's so many places to do that here in Florida. If you like going off-roading, if you like visiting state parks, if you like hiking, there is caves in Florida, there's springs. I mean, there's so much to do. And so when I hear people, I don't hear it anymore, but like almost when I first moved here, oh, why are you moving there? There's nothing to do. It's so hot.
It's all older retired people, and it's not any longer.
It's too hot. It's too hot there. Or when I first got my ski, why did you buy that? You're going to sell it. No, everybody buys one at first, but then they never use it. And I'm just like, you don't know me. You don't know me. I love being outside, man. I love being outside. It brings back when I was a kid, there was no iPad. There was no borrowing mom or dad's iPhone to play. None of that.
No, you just went outside.
Yeah. And that's what we do. That's what we do. So I would advise you, man, if you were looking about it, if you were looking into it and thinking about it and, really want to do it, the best advice I will tell you is there will never be the perfect time. If you're waiting for the perfect time, it will pass you by. Make a decision and make it happen.
Yeah. The thing about it is, and what most people don't realize is, sure. I mean, if you live like in Sarasota, or if you live like even, I bought my house at the right time, but even since we were talking about it, I mean, the taxes just freaking keep climbing and climbing and climbing as well. But there are some affordable areas in Florida as well.
Absolutely.
Like our son lives in Port Charlotte. There's a lot of undeveloped areas down here, and you could still pick up a property for pretty, at a pretty affordable price. Even Ocala, it's funny because, you might not be near the Gulf, but there's beautiful waterways up there, like in Ocala, I forget what the Swanee River, that area. And that's not that expensive up there. I mean, you might not be on a spring, but you could probably buy property within 10, 15 minutes or so and be affordable,
My wife's got family in Northport. It's really nice. Really nice.
Yeah, that's actually, so that's what, like 1 or 2 exits north, I guess, from my son.
Yes. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, it is. No, it's a great area. In fact, I was even talking to Brooke about it. I'm like, I could see ourselves just buying land like somewhere off the Peace River or something like that. And just because you could still buy land for a fairly affordable price and just hold on to it until our daughter is out of school and then build, our kind of like forever home right on the river. So it's doable.
I will tell you, I don't want to say my goal because it might be one, but speaking of like buying land and things like that, I don't know if you've looked into it, man, but there are some barndos that are unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
And for those that are not familiar with Florida, barndo is short for barn dominium. It's a barn and a condominium. Not really. It's really a barn and a house combined together. And amazing.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because, I'm a car guy. We talked about it before. I actually have another channel that I kind of slowed down because I'm putting all my focus on this year. But I'm going to basically make it come alive again, specifically on cars. And what appeals me about barndos is the freaking garage. You know what I mean? Like for me,
20, 30-foot ceilings.
Dude, like, right. I mean, I would have more cars if I had the space.
Yep.
My wife might divorce me from having more cars, but, I'll have more cars if I had the space. So barndos are sick. And at first I'm like, I wonder how they would do like on a hurricane or whatever. Dude, they do surprisingly well. They are hurricane rated buildings.
They're good, man. I would love a barndo eventually. We'll see. We'll see what life has in store.
So, question for you, and we're getting down to 2 questions here, and then we got to wrap this up, and we'll go to the questions from the people that are watching. So, again, please continue to put those questions for Obi and I in the chat. Question for you. So, I want to switch gears a little bit. Dude, you're doing a phenomenal job on your YouTube channel. I really, really love your video. But talk to me about that process because I think everyone needs to hear about it. I've always told people at the beginning, like, I mean, it's funny because I forget who I was showing, but I got YouTube videos from when I had my performance shop for like, they're like like 10-year-old videos and 12-year-old videos, right? But it's a lot different than now, where we're trying to do a little bit more vlog style and talking. And, you're
Mm-hmm.
not perfect on the first video. In fact, I'm still not perfect. I still got so much room to obviously grow. But how has your channel evolved since you began documenting kind of like your exploring journey and your Florida adventures? Talk to us about the evolution of your YouTube channel.
Yeah, listen. So I will tell you that it definitely has been a journey. Um, and I will tell you right now, okay, if that's something that you're thinking about doing, right? Hey, I would love to do that. Just understand you're not going to all of a sudden in 2 months build your channel and oh, I'm gonna have 1,000 subscribers and I'm gonna have 10,000. Like it's a grind. It's a
It is a
lot of
grind.
work. It's not just popping videos on YouTube. You got to do your research. And so a little bit of my backstory is I actually never wanted to do this. I when I started riding, the first 19, 20, so the first year and a half of riding, like when I would go out with Florida ski riders and my cousin, I didn't have a camera. I didn't have a GoPro. I didn't I didn't want to record. I was just there for the experience. And after I got my GoPro 8, still I was recording with my GoPro 8 just for memories, just for me and my wife, family, things like that. I wasn't going to put on a YouTube channel. That just wasn't my thing. So I'll never forget. It was the 2021 Florida Ski Riders Winter Excursion, where I was out there and I actually got to jump on Randy's switch that he had from Sea-Doo while Shan jumped on my ski, and he was riding things like that. So we get to one of the stops, and Brandon Jordan is actually on that ride. So for the people that are familiar with him, he has his YouTube channel, Jigging with Jordan.
Yep.
And he's big. I mean, he's got, I think, now over 3 million subscribers. So he's a legitimate YouTuber, right? So he's doing his thing and he's recording the videos. And Shan comes up to me and he's like, "Hey man, you should kind of do this too. Take some pointers and stuff." And I'm like, "Nah, I don't want to do that. Like that's not really what I." He's like, "I did blah blah blah," and not even just like encouraging me, knowing he was. I didn't want to do it immediately, but the thought stuck in the back of my mind, right? So a couple weeks later, no, actually a couple months later, probably maybe like in February. So a couple months later, I jump on my ski with my cousin and I'm like, you know what? Let me take my GoPro out there and let me see what I can put together. Long story short, I fell in love with, which I didn't think I would, because after I got my videos together, I jumped on iMovie and I opened the program. I had no idea how to use it. And immediately I gave up. I'm not doing this. Forget it. Like, I'm just not doing this. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I just didn't do anything. And a couple weeks later, I said, you know what? Let me try it. So I actually went on. And when I put my first video together, I look back on that video and I say, wouldn't do that. Got to change this, got to change this. I'm editing the crap out of it, right? In my mind. But I look back and after I edited that video, I had so much fun editing it that when I put it on YouTube and I saw it for the first time on YouTube, I was like, this is awesome. Like, I just loved it. So right then and there, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this more. And here's the thing. This is the big one. I'll speak for myself. I don't want to speak for anybody else. The reason I still do it to this day is because I enjoy not just going out there and being on my ski, because pretty much 100% of the people that are on PWCs love it. So that goes without saying. Exploring, all that stuff is in my blood. I absolutely love it. But the whole editing and all these things, although it's tedious, although there's some days where obviously I'm just too tired, I don't do it, but I love putting content out. So I never stopped. There were times where, listen, you go through things, obviously, maybe I can't ride as much, maybe there's some family stuff, whatever, work, who knows. So I went through times where, man, I'm like, I haven't put a video on YouTube in like 2-3 months, but I always wanted to put, I'm like Tom Brady, right? Where he says his favorite Super Bowl ring is his next one. My favorite YouTube video is my next one. Like, I'm dying to make my next video. And the reason I say that is because there's a number of people that when I started my channel that I met out, riding skis, they also started a channel as well, right? But things happen and some people just, I can't
Yeah.
keep up with it. It's very hard.
Dude, it's
So
hard. I don't
the
sleep.
the one thing I will say is don't get it twisted. Don't look at some of these people like, Florida ski riders or Alvian Azurin or Adam Swartz, these big YouTubers that have 30, 40, 50, 100, 300,000 subscribers. They didn't do that in a year or two. They took years to build it, but they stayed consistent. Aquadan, right? I mean, he's huge on Instagram. I remember him when he was in Aquadan. And by the way, he's one of the absolute coolest people I've ever met on the water.
I have not met him yet in person, but I hear he's super cool.
He took me out wakeboarding with him and his buddies from Brazil.
Okay.
Amazing. Yeah, he's awesome.
That's awesome.
So there's just a lot of great people that I've met and wanted to make content with them. And now, by no means am I this huge channel or anything like that. I'm still working. I'm still trying to get my way up there. I think maybe within the next day I might cross 2,000 subscribers. So that's exciting.
Dude,
but
that is exciting.
What I will say, what has me really excited is I've got some decent content creators, people that I promise you, if you're in the jet ski world, you know who they are, that I just talk to like almost on a regular basis. Like they're just friends that, they want to collaborate, they want to go on some rides, things like that. So I'm just telling you, man, that I'm just super excited for what's to come and, partnering with a lot of these content creators with exploring our waterways. When Ray took me out to the Wiki Wachi, that if you haven't seen that video, that might be the most magical video just because of that place. It was, we got to go back. My wife's dying to go back there. My daughter loved it. So riding with you and family and friends, like that's what it's about, man. And then just capturing the memories is just a cherry on top.
So Rob Chancleta says, hello. He says he was like that too at the beginning. He said Chris Stone did 22,000 subscribers in 1 year. Real quick.
What's up, Rob?
Yeah. What's up, Rob? Sorry, I couldn't say hello because I was listening here to Obi. But
guys, just so you know, I can't see the chat. So if people put stuff on the chat, I can't see it. I'm sorry.
But I'll go ahead and we'll read through the chat here in just about 1 second. I know we're dying to read the chat, but you know what's interesting? You mentioned the whole YouTube journey. So most people don't realize, but I love analytics. I love looking at data, right? I've been in the marketing world now for 27 plus years, specifically digital marketing. I'm in the TV business. So, I work with multiple TV networks throughout the country, all from the digital marketing side of the business. So analytics that's what gravitates me, right? But I also need to always stay busy. Like those that know me really, really well, they know that I don't sleep at all. I mean, I might get maybe 5 hours of sleep on average every single night, because I'm always looking at data. I'm always working. I'm always just trying to keep myself occupied. But I used to own an automotive tuning business. Excuse me. I think I was telling you before where I was calibrating car computers, right? So the interesting part about it is the reason why I did that is because, again, it's just listen, if you're going to be tuning a car, you got to have some sort of passion for data, right? And analytics. Like you got to look at data and you got to make changes based on that data. So for me, that's why I love the YouTube thing, because not only do I enjoy, obviously, the exploring aspect, but I enjoy the stuff that happens behind the scenes, right? Not just the video editing, but looking at the data and leveraging the data on YouTube Studio to just make that next video better, right? To perhaps get a little bit longer view duration per user, right? And it's just dude, like I just love it. And I just can't see myself not doing it. And most people don't know this, but before I started this channel, I actually have another channel with content specifically to first time swimming pool owners. I have no, I'm not in the swimming pool business, but again, I just wanted to start that to show people the journey of owning a pool because most people will tell you, oh, don't buy a pool, it's a money pit, blah, 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 right? So I started this channel. Our Facebook page alone has over 60,000 uh, members because it's kind of like a group. So, I
Mhm.
work a lot of different things, but dude, like I just love the exploring our waterways more because I get the best of both worlds, right? I get to
Yep.
explore with the family and meet people like you and just collaborate. I've been on several rides with Rob Chancleta. I've been on Florida ski riders on a couple rides with those guys too. I mean, I love exploring, right? But it's the analytics that I like more. I like seeing the difference that the evolution, right? What the difference is between one video and another. Like, dude, I'll go back to one of our first videos and I'm like, holy crap. Like the editing was horrible. The
Yeah, I know
it
what you're
was
talking
just
about.
music, right? Uh
Yeah.
if you look at the way that my export, I must have not even been exporting or shooting in 4K. Like it's atrocious because at work, even though I'm in media and we have TV stations and sports channels and stuff, I don't touch that. I'm on the marketing side. You know what I mean, dude? It was just the most horrible video. Like everything I shot prior to that was always on an iPhone till I bought a GoPro, which by the way, camera addiction is real. I just had one of
Mhm.
those new Insta 360s, the Ace 360
I saw
delivered
that.
because I
I
just
saw that.
wanted to have it, dude. It's addicting, but dude, I love that stuff. I love the technology, the analytics, and just like you, just being out there and exploring. So,
And
last
Ray,
but
I'll tell
not
you
least,
this.
Obi,
I
can you
will tell you
share
this.
any upcoming projects, collaborations, if you're allowed to talk about those, destinations that you're excited to explore here on your channel?
Yeah. So, and real quick, I will tell you this. Recently, I don't know, less than a week, I was over by Ray's house. We were hanging out, we were barbecuing and stuff, and Ray was taking
Rob
me through the
Chancleta's going to be like, oh, why didn't I get an invite?
analytics. Next time. So I was by Ray's house, and yes, I'm also a numbers guy, right? And so I always swam on the surface of the analytics, like YouTube Studio, all that stuff, but I never like took a deep dive into it. And then I don't know, the last couple of weeks, last couple of months, I've really thought about, you know what? I think I need to dive a little bit deeper with these things. And so obviously, we connected, and you were awesome, man. You invited me to the house, and you showed me things around just how to grow and all that stuff that I had no idea. Right, that's the point of meeting people, right? And just in that week, the changes that I've made on minor things from titles to just making it to where I'm optimizing my videos so much more efficiently has made a huge difference. And so that's got me even more excited about the potential to grow and things like that. So I just wanted to first and foremost say thank you.
Dude,
Um, that's
anytime.
what's that's what's amazing about this community. It's just that when you meet some of the people that are great, man, not just people that you want to ride with, but people outside of riding that you just want to hang out with, and so definitely was awesome. Thank you, Ray, for that.
No, of course. Listen, I
Um,
mean, I think a lot of people, what happens is, and look, I was doing this at the beginning, right? Um, we put all of our efforts and all of our focuses on the video itself. And it really comes down to, again, you know, leveraging the data to make your next video better. And also, that's one factor, but I mean, YouTube is a search engine, right? In fact, YouTube, most people don't realize, but it's the second largest search engine in the world. It's
behind
not
Google.
Bing, it's not anything else, it's YouTube, right? So it works no different than Google. So for me, it was kind of easy to understand it because I'm familiar with search engine optimization and what websites need in order to basically fuel them, backlinking and doing all these different things. So it's easy, but I wasn't, even though I knew in the back of my mind that my channel needed that in every single video, I needed to do keyword research. I just never applied it. I always put my focus on the videos. So I think it's been like the last like 3 to 4 months where I've really been trying to stay more consistent with the content. I went back, right? And just looked at all my old videos and just simply made like changes. In some cases, I cut some videos shorter than they were based on where people were dropping, right? Uh, I had a Sarasota video, right? That up until about 6 months ago, the video only had like 4,000 views. I think as of this morning, it has 12,000 views and over 100 subscribers just by simply going back and changing the description and focusing on all those different things. I also play with the thumbnails a lot. So if I start seeing a low click-through rate after, maybe 7-10 days, I'll go back and change the thumbnail. So, dude, I mean, I'm sharing that because the only thing I will say to you guys thinking about doing it is just, if you are thinking about doing it, just do it, right? The one thing that at the beginning would stop me was, oh, what will my family say? Man, my channel must suck because my family members and my friends aren't watching. Well, guess what? It's because it's not their thing. Exploring is not what they're interested in.
Correct.
It's not that your videos suck. It's just that it's not their type of content, right? It's why some people watch the Food Network and the other people watch the Speed Network, right? Or the Speed Channel, Velocity, whatever it's called now, right? It's no different. And dude, it took me a while to get past that because I'm like, damn, do I just suck so bad? And then the more that like you mentioned, the more that you start talking with other YouTubers and everything else, it's like, no, you know what? In fact, you don't even want those people that don't watch to follow your channel or subscribe to your channels because it only messes you up because YouTube pushes your content to them first. So if they're not engaged to your subscribers, you're going to lose them. So it's like, no, hell no. You know what? I don't even tell people to subscribe to my channel anymore. And I'm sure you've even noticed, I rarely even share my YouTube videos anywhere on Facebook with the exception of our Facebook group, Exploring Our Waterways. Obi, how do people find you before we go to questions here?
Yeah. So listen, real quick before, and I don't want to dodge the question you asked me before, so I'm going to answer that one.
Oh, sorry.
But I really have 4 platforms that I'm on. The biggest one is YouTube. Whenever I'm out exploring, whenever I'm doing anything, the first thought in my head is my YouTube video. Like that's my number one thing. That's what I really am the most passionate about, right? But I would say Instagram is great because I connect with so many people. That's where people DM me, hey, about your videos and I want to come down. When can we ride? All these things. So Instagram is great. It's Obi Ski TV, for example. Facebook is same. That's where a lot of the event information is on there. If I'm going to do a ride or anything like that, I put that on Facebook. So Instagram is Facebook are like 2A and 2B. And then the last one that I use, which is TikTok. I do that one just because it's what the young crowd loves. I would say that out of the 4, it's the one that I'm least focused on. Not because I don't put content out there, but I'll be honest with you, I've never researched how to, grow on TikTok. I just kind of put my reels from IG and put it there. And I know that if I dedicated the time, I can probably grow that one. But my personal goal isn't to necessarily grow my TikTok. It's really my YouTube. That's the big one I want to focus on. And so just to answer your question real quick, in terms of, collabs or partnerships or rides, I'll be honest, I don't have much like sponsorships or anything like that. I've made it a point to make sure that if I do associate myself with anything, it's something that I use. It's something that if you see me out in the water, if, for example, hey, I saw that video that you did for Sand Shark. How come you don't have a Sand Shark? I have a Sand Shark. I really like the anchor, right? The Jaws is great. So, I really make it a point to make sure that, hey, I don't want people to just think, I put videos out just so I can get sponsorships. I don't have any sponsorships. I have 0, but I do like to collab. Like, for example, I bought this Florida on top, not this one, but I bought a Florida on top hat, a regular black one because I love hats and I wanted a Florida hat. So I bought it and it fit amazingly well, right? Amazingly well. And I would just, every once in a while I put on my video, hey, this hat's great. And the guys from Florida on Top, which I actually found out who they were because of guys like Aquadan and Ramon Torres that I've ridden before, really awesome guys. They're out on the East Coast, and so they were rocking the hats. Odell, Yenny, and a couple of those guys. So after that, I put a couple of the videos, and the guys were like, hey, man, really love you. Rocking the hat. Love that you liked it. We're going to send some stuff out to you. So I was like, great. So I got this white hat that they just recently sent me, right? And I don't have the full info right now, but I will have it where they actually sent me more hats. So I got a couple of Florida on Top hats that, might be in a giveaway soon. So make sure you guys, tune into the IG channel because I'm going to be doing some giveaways for these Florida on Top hats they just fit so well. So, so just in terms of sponsorship, again, nothing crazy, nothing that you're going to see out there. More importantly, the collabs. Yeah, I mean, you're going to see me collabing with Ray and exploring Florida waterways. For those of you guys that are familiar with Z, we're going to be heading out with Z as well. The best thing that I can sort of give you guys an answer as to what my strategy is this year, next year, probably over the next 2 to 3 years, I'm really focused on just building my brand, right? For people to be able to go to my YouTube channel and know what to expect. What I want it to be mostly is, exploring. Like that's my passion, man. Going out there with a couple of buddies, couple of friends, 6, 7, 8 skis and going out there and just going places we've never been before, or maybe once or twice. And so you're going to see a lot of my content over the next couple of years is going to be heavily focused around exploring places. And I've gotten people that have been commenting lately about places that they've heard that maybe I should explore next. So I'm loving that. I'm loving the feedback I'm getting. But for those people that, wait, are you still going to go on these excursions? Absolutely. Definitely going to still make a couple excursions a year because I just want to go out there and hang out and ride and just, enjoy the beautiful life that is. But I will say that a heavy focus of mine is going to be specifically around the exploring videos.
Yeah. No, that's great. We actually, speaking of TikTok, we'll finish off here and then we'll go through some questions here, but I ended up dropping TikTok. I mean, it's just not my audience. We don't for you guys, you particularly, you do a lot of everything. It's all ski related content. And now you're doing the Jeep thing, right? But for me, it's like my audience. Like if I look at my average age, it's somewhere around 45 years old. And we skew really, really heavy on the female side of things, right? So they want different content. And look, for me, I'm still on my ski and I'm exploring, but our focus is more on like the areas and things of that nature. And, again, just looking at that and being cognizant of that just has helped me immensely. But TikTok was just one more platform and it was just stressing me out, right? I thought about streamlining it, but meaning using like Sprout Social or something like that, but it's just not the same. I just kind of just wrote off TikTok. Really focused on YouTube primarily and Facebook. Our Facebook does extremely well. And Instagram, I don't know what the heck is up with Instagram, man. One day I'll gain 10 followers. The next day I'll lose 10 followers. And then it's kind of all over the place. But any last comments here before we get through questions? Anything else you want to add?
No, we're good, man. We can get to questions. Absolutely.
All right. So, we got questions and comments, and there's a lot of them here. Well, there's several. Z, Obi, I saw one video. You were trying to catch the drone from the pontoon. Do you know what that is?
Yes, that almost gave me a heart attack. So I bought the Skydio drone, which is amazing. But for those that own a Skydio, this is my experience. The biggest difference is the landing. So I have a Mavic Mini 1. I know there's a 2 and 3 and 4, but what I love about the Mavic is that I'm always controlling it. Now, the 1 doesn't have obstacle avoidance. So if I hold it down, it's going to come down. So when you're on a boat or a ski and you're not in complete flat water, there's always a current. And so the Mavic is pretty easy to land even if you're in a current because I can control the drone all the way until it gets to my hand. The Skydio, you cannot do that. Once the Skydio gets too low, if you press down, it's going to move to the left or right because it's going to avoid that obstacle. So on the Kissimmee River, but especially on that video on the pontoon boat, when you go to land and it gets as low as it can go, you have to press a button that at that point, all navigation is completely removed and the drone will just go straight down. So if I'm here and the drone is right above me and it starts to go down and I'm in a current and I'm going away, that drone will go right into the water. So, oh man, yeah, we were on the boat and it took me it felt like 4 hours, but it took me a good like 5-6 minutes to land it. And in my mind, I'm going like, oh my God, what if my battery runs out? What if this, what if that? And I just got the drone and oh my God, once I grabbed it in my hand, I was sweating bullets. But yeah, but now I've learned, like everything, my experience, now I've learned how and when to fly that drone so that doesn't happen again.
Dude, it's what's funny? Every time I catch my drone, I'm like, "Ooh, all right, we made it alive. One more day, right?" So the funny thing about it is, so last year I was at Stump Pass, and I go to take off on the drone, and I don't know what the heck I was thinking. I kind of set it down, and I had like a landing pad, which I don't know why I should have just taken off from my hands, but anyway, the thing a boat came by, the weight came through, and just like out of nowhere and just like splashed the drone. Not even like submerged it. It was just like a splash. It went right through the front and destroyed my Mavic Air 2. The funny thing about it is I always had the insurance. I bought like 3 years or 2-year insurance on it. And Z was always like, dude, you got to use your drone. You got to use your drone, right? And I just never did it. I was just not comfortable. So lo and behold, that day, I decided to use the drone. Sure enough, gets wet. Warranty, or not the warranty, the insurance had just expired
Oh,
a month prior, dude. So now I'm just using that thing all the time because I'm like, you know what? If it goes, it goes. And I did take out a longer term insurance now on it. So
yeah,
dude,
that's my thing. Hey, real quick. So I had a Mavic Mini 1. Me and my buddy are out on the North Sandbar. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to do really low video, the drone right by the water as it's ripping by the skis on sport mode. And so I fly it through and it's starting to get windy and I panic. So my instinct is to fly up. I don't know why I pressed it down. And instead of my drone flying up, wham, right into the ocean. Drone is gone. Drone was gone. I lost my Mavic Mini 1. And thank God my buddy who lives in Jersey was like, hey, man, I don't use it. You can keep mine. So thank God.
Maybe that was God's way of telling you it's time to upgrade.
Well, he gave me his Mavic Mini 1, but eventually I got the Skydio, which is thumbs up. But yeah, listen, I agree with you 100%. I didn't buy the Skydio to sit in my office here doing nothing. I bought it to take video on the water. And God forbid, if one day something happens and it goes. Like, it is what it is.
Right, exactly. And you know what? Right, exactly. It's when you don't use it often and then it goes and then you're like, damn, you know what I mean? It only had like 1 hour.
Yep.
Let's keep going down this list here. Oh, Z wanted to know what the story is behind that, but I think you covered that well. Amber Gonzalez, evening, gentlemen. Ram Bevilacqua, good evening. If you guys are still on, good evening to you guys as well. Ray and Obi, question for both of you. How many times do you guys fall from skis? Obi, you go first.
From my specific ski, I have fallen only once, and that was a ride that we went from Sarasota down to Snake Island. I don't even consider it a fall. I'll tell the story. If you consider it a fall, then I guess. So on the way back, we went through some major chop. It's me, my daughter, and my wife. We get to see to Sarasota, which was like a whirlpool, right? It was insanity. We get through all of it. We finally get back to the boat ramp, right? And when I usually get back to the boat ramp, I usually ride by myself. And so I kind of like lean to my left as I'm like looking for things. I forgot my wife and daughter were behind me. So I'm leaning to my left. All of a sudden, I feel the ski tipping this way, and I gun it to try to get out. But by that point, both of them were going over. And so we completely fell off literally at the boat ramp. That's the only time I've fallen off my ski.
So my story is kind of similar to yours. It's interesting. So we were, I think it was John's Pass. Is that what it's called? Yeah, it is. It's John's Pass. And we were out there for a ride. And I just literally just stopped in the water, like kind of on the side. And a boat went by and I didn't even think of it. I was staring at my phone, dude, right? The boat came over. I was leaning in the other direction. So my family did the same thing. It was like one of the first times like riding, after so many years. I mean, because again, we haven't had skis probably up until 2 years ago or 3 years ago. We didn't have skis till, for probably like 10 years. So, and they were different. So we actually the ski flipped over, right? I go under, my daughter goes under, my wife goes under. Obviously, we're wearing life jackets. We come up. Somehow I'm still freaking holding the phone in my hands, right? As all this thing is happening. So that's my story, Z. Other than that, I think I mentioned at the beginning, I had a really, really bad fall from my first Yamaha when I lived up north, where I went over the handlebar and I damaged my wrist. And still to this date, I feel like pain from it, during like certain maneuvers and stuff, that I'm just ultra careful, because even when I'm riding, I could still feel my wrist gets agitated. You know what I mean? So, but again, that's my story of falling. Let's see here. Amber says Jose did the caves with Naughty Girl Crew this past August. Rob says, yo, let me see if there's anything else. Stay real, your class. Obi says, stay real, you're a class act, and you're doing amazing. And you wake up late. I don't know what that means, but I think he's talking about me because I don't sleep that well.
Yes.
But I also do not like waking up in the morning, if that makes sense. So I struggle with that.
I'm a morning person, so I'm a morning person.
I think we talked about it when we got together, right? I freaking hate the mornings. I mean, I love the mornings. I just hate the aspect of waking up that early. Like I'm a 7:30 kind of guy, maybe 8 o'clock if I gotta log into the computer, right, to start my workday. And going to bed on average, I go to bed about 2 a.m. So that's that's just what I like. Obi, do you edit your own videos?
Yeah. And, I think we talked about that already. And I think at some point I'm definitely going to be upgrading to most likely Final Cut Pro. I think that's the one that most people use. But to this day, I still use iMovie, the regular, one that comes on the MacBook Pro or the MacBook Air. I think is the one I have.
So I was using Premiere. Randy Cabrera said, hey, you need to get, because I've always used Premiere because that's what we use at work. So he goes, nah, dude. He goes, you need Final Cut Pro. He goes, it'll be the best $300 you'll ever spend. And Premiere, dude, Premiere is super, super expensive. Final Cut Pro, dude, is a game changer, especially since you have a Mac. I mean, I don't know why you don't have it yet. I mean, total game changer. It's easy. I feel like the video quality exports well. It exports quick. Dude, it's phenomenal software, and I highly recommend it.
I'm going to be upgraded to that one.
Oh, Randy said the plugins are crazy. So I was trying to play around on the Fort DeSoto video with. Did you see the explosion? And it looked like crap, right? But
yes, I did see that.
I could have done so much better. Yeah, I could have done so much better with it, but it was my first time doing it, and dude, that plugin it's sick. So there's a lot of plugins, and speaking of plugins, they are super, super easy to to just maneuver and use with this software. So highly recommend it. Randy says, Obi Ski Tv.
What up, Randy? To the moon, baby.
Chancleta said earlier, good boy. I guess he was talking about something we were talking. Rob says he'd rather do Instagram than TikTok, even though
Yeah, I can see
Instagram
that.
is, he said Instagram is very moody. And I would have to agree with that statement.
I think so too. I
Yeah.
agree.
Wait, they started selling Skydio drones again. Did they stop selling Skydio drones?
Yes, to my knowledge, they stopped the consumer drones. That was a couple months ago. They still sell to like military and police departments, things like that. But the actual Skydio 2 Plus was the final consumer drone that they made. I have not heard that they have been selling consumer again, so I'll have to check that out. But
Did
yes,
you get,
from
was
my
yours,
understanding,
did you buy yours pre-owned or something?
I did. I got mine on Facebook Marketplace.
That's a good tip for somebody that wants that. I've been thinking
And
about it, but at this point, Obi, I gotten so good and like comfortable with the DJI.
yeah,
The thing with DJ, maybe again, when I lost the Air 2, I had the controller where you had to use your phone, and it was just a pain in the butt because the screen would go dark in the sun. I got the
mhm.
controller with the screen built into it, dude, and it's just game changing. So I'm just like,
I will
the
tell you
confidence level just goes up
what.
drastically when your screen and your controller are just one, you know?
Yeah, what did it for me for the Skydio is the beacon. You can
Yeah,
fly
dude.
it with a beacon, and
Yeah.
that is the absolute biggest game changer I have ever seen on a drone because I don't need my control, my phone, nothing. I've learned how to control it with that beacon, and unbelievable.
Rob said, you guys are too high class for me. He uses his phone to edit. Come on, man. You got to step that game up, Rob. He goes, easy to catch DJI drones. Randy said it's always nerve wracking landing out in the water. Oh, dude, 100% because
Always.
your ski's moving. And, it's just, you know what? I don't know if you guys saw, but there was an article that Kevin Shaw from the Watercraft Journal had the other day with the freaking Kawasaki's and that GPS
Oh,
lockdown
I
mode.
saw that.
Dude, how freaking sick is that? That's like, can you imagine if you could get like an app and pair that to your phone, to your drone, and it just keeps following? Dude, when you're
Yeah.
landing it's got to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I saw that, man. With the GPS and the ski will come back to you. It'll learn its position. And, it's some sick stuff. If you guys haven't seen that episode, you're gonna want to see that. That was really good.
Like the one thing with Kawasaki's for me, it's like I never understood the whole headlight thing, because I mean, you don't ride in the,
Correct.
you know,
Nice.
the camera. I feel like I get it if you're towing, but it's kind of gimmicky. But dude, now that you're starting to see that other technology, it's just
That's
freaking bananas.
yeah, that was sick. Yeah, I'm right there with you. The camera, the lights, for me it would do no good. But that's pretty dope.
Rob said, I told you to use the drone too. Okay, he's talking about when Z was also telling me to use the drone. Randy wants to know how many hours are on your ski, Obi?
Ooh, I think if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not there yet, I should be crossing 200.
200? Damn, you got me beat by like 50 hours on the RXTX.
Yeah, I'm on about 200 hours.
All right. Rob says you got to practice drone flying. Yeah, dude. That's also like if you're new to drone and you guys are watching, like, or are considering a drone, best advice is use it around your house, like outside, not inside. I mean,
Yep.
I would be lying if I told you guys I've never tried flying the drone indoors, but
I have.
yeah, me too. That's what I'm saying. But definitely take it outside and just play around with it and get comfortable sending it far. My biggest mistake when I first got my drone, you know what it was? I kept looking at the freaking drone rather than the controller. But partially it's because I was just waiting for my iPhone screen to turn dark in the sun and not be able to see it. But dude, again, back to that controller. Having that bright screen on the controller, dude, it's just, now I just
Yep.
look at the controller. But you do tend to get the tendency at first to want to, like
Yeah,
chase the drone
absolutely.
with your eyes, and that's a huge mistake. Let's see. Rob says race RXT. Oh yeah, Rob flew off my RXTX. He says because it
Oh
doesn't like
man.
misfits. Yeah, dude, I told you. My RXTX has smart technology, Rob. It doesn't like misfits, so it knew that ahead of time. Threw you off. All right. Let's see. Florida Living, what's going on? How are you? He said to the moon. I already answered Randy's question or comment on the plugins. Obi, do you still like your Super Slick? Yeah, talk about that.
Oh man, thing's amazing. So I've ridden it with the Super Slick, and I will tell you that only because I was riding in a river that I had never ridden before. And on top of that, listen, obviously, there's gators. And to be honest with you, I don't even care about the gators. It's just, I don't want to see snakes. Not because I'm afraid of snakes. I don't mind snakes, but I'd much rather see a gator than a snake. So anyway, I'm on that river, so I didn't really want to push it to its limits. However, I'm going to be riding soon back into the ocean where I'm going to absolutely rip the ski as best as I can. I'm talking turns, whips, everything. So I'm really excited to see how it feels. But so far, the handling feels awesome just because it allows you to drift your ski a little bit more. Like the ski will glide on the water further than what it normally would. So you can really, take advantage of that for some cool, tricks on it, I guess is the best way I can put it. All that stuff is great, but the real reason I bought it is just because of the protection that it gives you on your hull. On that Little Manatee River, we got stuck. I got stuck 4 or 5 times. So that's, if I didn't have that, boom, that's paint coming off. That's issues. So the Super Slick handled it like a champ. And then when we got back to the super sketchy ramp, there was like, little rocks and stuff like that where I had no choice. I have to beach the ski there while I get my car. So, I did it because I want that ski to last me another 10, 15 years. And I will tell you, it's an awesome investment for those that are looking to do it. I will tell you that I personally, I went to Gary Dean up in Holiday, Florida. He did an amazing job. I also researched, there's a couple other people, that do it as well. Some on the East Coast that have gotten amazing reviews. And so just do your research, depending on where you live, see who does it. And I would tell you, absolutely 1,000% get it on your ski.
Dude, I want to do it. My thing is, I just I'm waiting on a car to be delivered, so I want to get it PPF'd, paint protection.
Yep.
Dude, I don't know what the heck happened to the pricing of paint protection right now, like that clear bra to do the entire car. But I got, that's kind of like my priority, so I got to pay for that because it's freaking expensive. But I definitely want to do it to the.
Oh yeah, it's worth it, man.
Yeah, to the Sea-Doo. Rob, speaking of the Super Slick, he said to get some sponsons and set them on the most aggressive setting. He said you feel like you're riding on rails. I think Randy was answering the throwing off of the RXTX earlier, that the it has the X sponsons and they are aggressive. Dude, that thing does, like, it does. If you're not careful, it will throw you off of the thing. I've gotten really, really close, probably to the point where I should have never stayed on the handlebar and should have just let the thing just throw me off. Cause again, I told you guys, I have a bad wrist from when I fell off of my ski years ago. But yeah, dude, it will throw you off. Z has 5 drones now. He's ready for FPV drone world.
Oh, Z.
Dude, remember when we were talking about the camera addiction? Holy crap. I mean, I think Z has us all beat,
Oh, without a doubt.
So, and speaking of which, I think my camera has me all beat here. It just freaking cut off the stream. Ain't that crazy?
Yep. I was going to say, your camera just cut off.
Yeah, but thank God you're on here, Obi, because they can at least see you. You know what it is? Yeah. I'm using the ZV1, right? And one of the biggest pain points with the ZV1 is that it just wants to overheat.
Oh. Well, maybe that's a sign, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, see, or maybe it just hated the fact that I said camera.
Yeah, right? Maybe.
So, but anyway, Obi, listen, and I'll figure out how to fix this whole camera thing down the line. I guess I'm gonna have to keep these lives much shorter. But anyway, it's weird because I can't see myself, but at least they can see you. So, thank you so much for joining. We truly,
Yeah,
truly
man.
appreciate you coming on here and talking a little bit about yourself, letting us know a little bit more about, the day in a life of Obi Ski TV. For all of you guys that are watching at home, thank you so much for your love and support. Again, we are switching this podcast now to Thursdays. Thanks again for joining, and we'll catch you on the next one. Have a great night.
Absolutely. Take care, people.
Thanks, Obi.
Catch you on the water.
I'm waving at you, but you can't see me, Obi.
No worries, man. I'll catch all you guys out on the water.
Later.